Hello everyone and welcome to the Armband. I'm Chris and Kieran is here too. Today we're going to take a quick look at Game Week 28. I believe it's Game Week 28 already. Talking about striker replacements mainly, with basically all of our strikers just going.
Yep.
Mateta had his head chopped off. Who else is out? Isak's maybe got a groin injury, and who's the other one I'm forgetting? Cunha, obviously.
Cunha,
banned for being naughty. Anyway, before all that, how are you doing? Good week?
Yeah, all good so far. Decent enough week in FPL, so yeah, not too bad.
Nice. All right, well, let's have a quick look at last week, and then just get into the main talking points. Right, you can start us off.
Okay, so 63 points. It was a decent-ish green arrow in the end. It wasn't huge. I think, what was it? Let me see. 130k to 112k. Most of my players did kind of return, and I thought I'd go a little bit higher after this, but I guess it was mostly the highly owned ones returning, apart from Mateta. So, obviously Gabriel, Trent with a clean sheet. Robinson, didn't see that benching coming. Maybe it was just rest because he has played like basically all the minutes. So I guess it probably was just a bit of rotation. Clive goal, great. And Bromé return. Rogers off the bench for Isak. Mateta return, which is great. I did consider Mikolenko at one point, but he doesn't really get assists very often, so that was a little bit out of the blue, I suppose. Palmer continuing to do nothing. I bought Cunha in. I can't remember who it was for Gapco. He obviously blanked, which is classic. And then obviously now what's happened with his ban. Not great in that scenario.
No, it was a bit of a tricky. It's funny looking at the points because this was actually like a week ago, wasn't it? Now, like it was last midweek game, so it does feel like old news. But like at the same time, a lot of the players who are popular at the minute, Hall, Gordon, Isak maybe, Cunha, Mateta, are all in trouble, and they're all popular sort of picks at the minute. So it's a timely one to do. So I had a good week as well, mainly thanks to my punty punt coming in. I knew I wanted to make a defensive transfer last week because I didn't fancy, but it's funny because all my defenders returned. I didn't fancy playing Milenkovic or Myalenko because they had bad fixtures, and I thought, I'll get rid of Bednarak. I had the money to do a Chelsea defender. Southampton looked bad away from home. Chelsea looked good, and I'd watched some Chelsea highlights, and he was getting in the box. And I was like, there's just a chance. And then, of course, he scored. So that basically gave me a big green arrow up to 116k. But yeah, similar to you, I did Watkins to Cunha, so that didn't work out. I lost like 3 points in that. Isak got replaced by Milenkovic. I kind of thought it would be close that game, but I didn't expect a 0-0. And we didn't actually. The big thing we didn't touch on it when you did your points were how you and I both did Salah rather than Palmer. That was that huge big sort of swing towards Palmer. It felt like on the Monday and Tuesday of last week.
And, all the content creators going there, and we held form.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like it was this late drive for Palmer, and fair enough. Chelsea scored 4 goals, but Palmer is like out of form, and just backing against Salah. I was surprised a little bit that Salah didn't punish more, but I take the return. Obviously,
at least he got something. Yeah,
at least he got something. So nice juicy green arrow, and got the blank to talk about a little bit in Game Week 29. But first of all, got some Game Week 28 chat to do. So just on the blanks and doubles, because we've had the FA Cup weekend, I still think, and probably you too, it's still a bit early to talk about chip strategy for Game Week 30 to 38, as so many things are up in the air. So with the Premier League this season sort of happy to rearrange those, or sort of any extra games in UCL midweeks when they previously haven't done that. I kind of think, even though people like, bless them, like Ben Krellin, Planet FPL, are making these like predictions on when the fixtures are going to be, we still don't know because no one called the Game Week 25 double. So I think there's and even the Game Week 32 double for Newcastle and Palace, I still think are going to is going to be unreliable. So let's just wait a little bit more. But I think the one thing we do know is at the moment there's only 4 confirmed fixtures for Game Week 34, which we thought was going to be the quiet one because it ties in with the FA Cup. So that's looking like a free hit one compared to free hit 29 if you can
almost certainly.
So but anyway, let's dive into strikers, because you and I have both got big decisions to make this week about what to do. You more so than me probably. So yeah, be
Yeah.
interested to hear your thoughts. Really.
Yeah, so I obviously bought in Cunha. Yeah, I have Mateta already, and I have Isak. So I had the three strikers, the most popular probably strikers at the moment,
Yeah.
other than Wood. And yeah, so that's bit of a nightmare FA Cup weekend for me. Yeah, so Cunha, he's obviously 7 million now, 16% owned. So, you know, firstly, obviously, what a knobhead he's been. It's just he's had form on this now of just being a dickhead, really,
Yeah.
and just I don't know, it's just losing his head, and it's really annoying. So he's banned until the 5th of April, as far as I know, and like people saying it might get extended, but who knows. So he misses like Everton at home, Southampton away, West Ham at home, Ipswich away. Those four really great fixtures, and this obviously
really
includes
good.
Southampton away, which is blank game week 29. And you know, I was, you know, with his form at the moment, like I was, you know, possibly considering captaining him for that. So and it was a huge part of buying him, obviously, for you know, a good team with good fixtures over the next few, including the blanks. So yeah, his form was 2-2, 7, 9, 9, and 2, and then obviously a goal in the cup as well. And obviously the 2 when I bought him, which is hilarious. Yeah, he was picking up form at the right time, and obviously the right time for Wolves and for us managers. And yeah, he was the 4th highest scoring forward at the moment, 143 in a bad Wolves team, and is only 19 points behind Haaland. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, he's been performing really well, and yeah, it's just such a shame. Like he would have been a go-to for most. Yeah, he would have been getting up to probably like 25% ish, 30% ish owned, coming up for this blank. So yeah, just really annoying. And then on Mateta, yeah, he's 7.5 million now, 10% owned, so more of differential. But yeah, obviously I have him. So horror challenge on him, 25 stitches to the ear.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Described as a laceration, but I've not heard or like seen if he was considered to be concussed. So I'm not sure about that. So he has a 25% chance of playing on FPL at the moment with a head injury. But honestly, I think we generally just have no real idea of what the timeline of his sort of return is going to be. So he was discharged from hospital on the 1st, and he's put out a statement on Instagram saying he was okay and everything. So yeah, he will most likely return wearing some kind of protective headgear, I guess. But I'm not assuming they're going to rush him back, because you know it did sound pretty bad, looked pretty bad. So you know, it seems like he blanks in 29 as well. So it seems like, you know, I was going to keep him because he had, you know, this good fixture this week. I think it was, let me see. Ipswich at home this week. And then after the blank, he had Southampton away. So I was absolutely going to keep him for those 2 games when he's obviously been informed. So yeah. So for now, it seems like probably going to have to be a sell, because I just have no idea what's going to happen. So yeah, 2 weeks, you'd expect at least, and then that's his 2 really good fixtures gone. So yeah, and the blank. So yeah, we'll see. And then Isak up at 56% owned, 9.4 million. Yeah, Eddie Howe did say like it would just seem like it was general tiredness, and he said that I don't think there's a problem with Alexander, but as I said before the game, he was fit, he would play, so fingers crossed he's okay. So you know, he went off with groin discomfort, but at the same time, it kind of looked like a precaution, as we said. So, yeah, he had missed the Man City game previously before that as well. But like out of the 3 strikers mentioned now, I think he's probably the most likely to play. He hasn't got a flag in FPL right now. But at the same time, Wilson is fit. You know, West Ham away is probably a game where they could fully rest him if they really wanted him to, just for the Carabao Cup final. So he's fully fit. He also blanks in 29, obviously. But obviously his run after that is like really good, I would say. So yeah, let me just show it or say it quickly. So after that, it's like Brentford home, Leicester away, Man United home is obviously still a good fixture, Palace, Villa, Ipswich, and then Brighton. And then at the end of the season, it's got Chelsea, Arsenal, and Everton. So yeah, that run from 30 to 35, still really good fixtures for me. So I was certainly considering keeping, and he does seem to be probably fit at least. So yeah, replacements wise, so game week 28 to 31 hub player point predictions indicate not including Isak, because yeah, he probably is fit now. Yeah, first is Haaland at 28.5 over the next 3 weeks. Wood 21.0, third Wissa 20.4, fourth Jimenez on 18.6, and then joint fifth is Vardy on 17.7 and Marmouche on 17.7. So most people probably own Wood already, I would say. So he's obviously a clear replacement for many. He's not going to be getting me much differential points if I head there, but like he's one of the obvious replacements, isn't he? So I'm not really going to talk about Wood because he's obvious. Wissa,
Vardy's weird on that list, don't you think? Like he's got an away game against Chelsea, and he's got Man United, and who's the third game? Away against Man City.
Yeah, it's strangely high, and I can't see him getting that 17.7 points that they're expecting. Yeah, so
what?
Yeah, I don't think anyone should go Vardy way. So yeah, Whistler at 6.4 million, 14% owned, 7th highest scoring forward right now. Good form with 8 and 9 in his last 2. However, he did have 4 consecutive blanks before that. Game week 22 to 27, he's had 17 shots, which is third of strikers. 4 big chances, which is joint 7th. Third, 3.2 XG, which is third. 4 key passes, which is 9th. 1 big chance created, joint 7th, and a 0.64 XA, which is joint 4th. So the big thing for me there is the non-penalty XG of 3.4. I'm not his third best. I don't know how that's higher than his normal XG of 3.2, but whatever. Which it's obviously impressive. Like it's a big part of my sort of dislike of Worcester is like not having his pens, but I have owned him this season. Like that is an issue, I suppose. But he has been scoring plenty. At the same time, he's got Bournemouth away in the blank, which doesn't really scream points, but like he seems to be, other than Wood, like the absolute clear best choice, to be honest. If you're doubling up with Mbeumo, I don't like it as much, but Visser is always going to be a good buy. Will chip in with points, so I think he's a good one. Haaland, 14.7 million now, 25% own. He's obviously top for points prediction, as I said, but he hasn't really hauled since game week 23. And I'm just thinking, I'm not sure I can rip up my team. I'd probably have to sell like Trent. I'd probably have to sell someone else quite big, probably Isak, to be able to get up to Haaland, to be honest. So, but yeah, he's had game week 22 to 27, 6, 12, 6, 5, 0, 8. And obviously that is good, but is it 14.7 million good? Like, not really. He's not hauling, to be honest. Like he's just getting 1 goal a game. Like that's not 14.7 million price, to be honest. Stats wise, shots of 12, which is 9th overall for strikers, which is pretty low. 8 big chances, joint first. 3.54 XG is second. Key passes 7, of which is 4th. 3 big chances created, which is first, and then 0.48 XA is 8th. So yeah, the big thing there again for me is 12 shots is super low for Haaland. Like even his sort of dipped form, he usually is taking a ton of shots at least. So like Cunha over the last 6 weeks in comparison has taken 28 shots to Haaland's 12. Crazy. So, and that usually basically doesn't ever happen really. So, but then 8 big chances with 4 goals is showing he's kind of taking as many as he's missing. So still not really on form, but he is definitely chipping away still, at least. So Haaland usually struggles on the assist side of the metrics. However, he is decently high at the moment, which does alleviate some of the kind of worries for it's goals or nothing with him. So but again, none of the above tells me it's worth spending 15 million on him, I don't think. And the fixture in 29 for him is a good one, which is Brighton at home. So Brighton defensively not been so great, so you can see some points there at least. And then another one people may be looking at, the cheaper way into the City forward line, is Marmoush at 7.2 million, 8.9%. I think if you want a part of the cake for City, then you can go just for the second Egyptian king, I guess. But his form is a little bit all over the place. 2-2, 17, 2-2. And I think he's returned in UCL though. So he's been unlucky.
Minutes as well. Like so consistent. 71 or through to 76 is when he gets subbed. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think he's been unlucky he's not to return in other games. Like he's hit the woodwork a few times. He had an offside goal versus Liverpool. And like you said, the minutes he's getting subbed past 70 minutes, just past 70 minutes, like basically every single game so far. So when are we going to see a 90 minutes? Not sure. Hopefully soon, but Pep seems to have this trend with players, and he just keeps doing the same thing over, doesn't he? So stats wise, not amazing. 12 shots, which is joint with Haaland. 2 big chances, is not in the top 10. XG of 1.06, not in top 10. 6 key passes, which is 7th, 1 big chance created is not in the top 10, and a 0.64 XA, which is 4th. So I think we probably need to temper expectations with him a little bit. But like I do kind of expect him to be like involved with goals.
Yeah.
If City are going to score. So like it kind of like, if Haaland and Foden and all that stuff are starting, like I think Marmoush probably does get some points along the way. So I think in my team, I'm probably looking at like Wood and Marmoush, just because like, do I want Wisser and Buemo?
Yeah,
so
you don't want that double up.
Yeah, exactly. So he's probably the only other one that I would be considering right now.
Are you and then there's not into Haaland then? Just for like, if you be wildcarding in 30 or 31 then? Is he like a no-go completely for you? Because I feel like the wave at the moment is like people are like, oh right, you've got to, if you can get to Haaland for game week 29, he's, now that Cunha's out, he's like the best looking captain choice.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could sell Isak and then bring him back on wildcard, but I would lose quite a bit of value. I would have to sell Trent and Isak, I think, because my funds are so spread already that it makes it so much harder for me to get to Haaland. But I've got 2 free transfers, so I probably could do it. So yeah, something to consider, I guess.
Because I don't know who else the captains.
Looking at him?
Yeah, well, not this week, I don't think. But I look at, now that like Cunha is not available in game week 29, I look at the captaincy options, and I could probably get to Haaland for a -4 and still keep Salah, and only have to lose Isak, and I'd only lose like 0.4. And I kind of think you can't make up the points that you miss. And I kind of think he just looks like the best captaincy. I mean, the other captain options for 29, which I think is like really important within this chat, because bringing him in now might be a thing people can do because of Mateta, because of Cunha, and moving some money around. But yeah, I just look at the other fixtures in game week 29. I've just got them on the screen now. I don't think you'd captain anyone. Everton, West Ham. I don't know if you'd captain Chris Wood ever.
I mean, you could consider it, I guess.
So maybe
Buemo looks against good. Bournemouth.
Yeah, Buemo against Bournemouth. Maybe Bournemouth have been like worse recently.
This is Bruno Fernandes against.
That's maybe it's his biggest return biggest return of the season against Leicester at home. But United have been woeful. He's been good actually, 2 back-to-back 10-pointers. But I don't know. I just look at game week 29. I don't really see like a standout captaincy. And if Salah's not there, Haaland just seems like the natural, obvious backup. But you're right about the price. It just seems like a lot to stretch to. Yeah, it's interesting. Harry in the chat says he's rolling this week to potentially get Haaland in next game week. And I think it's going to be the way people are going, to be honest.
And I think losing the 0.4 in Isak is an issue, because we've all still got bench boost, and we're like, that sort of money is going to be needed to sort of get a decent bench boost team still. Like that's losing that 0.4 is it's going to hurt. I think even in losing money in Trent as well will certainly hurt. So
I'm kind of this is a bit off tangent, but it might be useful anyway. I'm kind of thinking I'm maybe ditching Palmer in game week 29. So he's got away. He obviously doesn't have any more doubles. His form's been a bit mixed, and he's dropped a little bit of price.
Well, he could be a way to get Bruno in, I guess.
Yeah, so I just think Palmer to Bruno probably gives some people enough money for Isak to Haaland, and your buyback on Isak's going to be 0.5. But then, do you need Bruno's going to have a double between 30 and 38, so you're going to have one more game than Palmer. He's been doing similar in terms of output recently. Don't know. And then you can get a bench boost, which might be useful for that chip. So it's something to think about. But I've certainly looked at that.
Yeah, I agree. Palmer. Yeah, you just know he's going to sort of pick up. He knows he's not doing well at the moment, and I feel like he's ready to, kind of go big again at some point soon. It's just when it's going to happen, but I think it will at some point. It's probably not the Arsenal game in 29, but other than that.
Yeah, we've had some more comments in the chat. Abui says that he was planning to use the free hit for later bank, but he thinks 29 more. The only reason I think 34 looks better for the free hit is just because the team selection's so low. I feel like you'd be making transfers just to focus on 4 teams, or 8 teams. I just don't think they're that strong for the rest of the season either. But yeah, it's scattered.
Agree. And then just for 2 other sort of strikers, possibly Django Ouattara. I'm not sure. Is he a striker? I'm not even sure, to be honest. At Bournemouth.
No, he's not. He's
not. Okay. And then Evan Nilsson is also, he played in the cup game. He's kind of back-ish, I guess. So yeah, I mean, Brentford home in the blank. Then they've got Ipswich, West Ham, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Man United. Like, those are, I have no idea who's going to play those games, but I obviously like the fixtures. So, and Bournemouth haven't been as good recently, but they have, Cliver got points last week, that they will still tick along. So I still like their attack and their fixtures. So yeah, I think it's probably just too hard to know who's going to play out of those guys. Yeah, if you've got, you're probably not buying Ouattara at any point, you probably just keep hold of him. But Evan Nilsson, if he looks like he's going to be back to nailed on, could be a decent-ish buy.
Yeah, I feel a bit sorry for the people that went Dango, because he'd been so reliable for minutes. Like, I've got his minutes up on screen now, but he was pretty consistent 90 minutes for 4 or 5 game weeks when he was doing really well. And then Brighton, he obviously got replaced by Evan Nilsson. It was predicted he was going to be out until sort of April time, so he's back way earlier than expected. And he's obviously the preferred central striker, which is probably why they didn't buy anyone in January. Maybe he's come back a lot sooner than they thought. So yeah, he does look like a bit of an issue moving forward, but hopefully he gets some minutes in that game week 29, because I think people have got him eyeing up that one, because it looks like a good fixture on paper for 29.
Yep.
The only person who you haven't mentioned, who I thought is definitely worth a shout out, because when I was having a look at the metrics, he came up quite a lot, is Beto. I don't know, what do you think about Beto and as a pick?
What's the fixtures? I've not even looked.
So the
not
fixtures,
even considered.
Fixtures for next 2 are not bad. After that, they're awful. So he would be a wild card out. So he's got Wolves away this game week against a Wolves team without Cunha, and then they've got West Ham at home, which is ex-narrative, because David Moyes is going up against his former club. So those seem like good fixtures to me for him, and his stats are quite decent. After that, I should say his fixtures are rough, so you'd probably want to get rid of, because he's got Liverpool away in 30, Arsenal at home, Forest away, City at home, Chelsea away. So
as bad as it can get.
It's rough. Yeah. So basically, the top 4 or 5 they play in a row in April, basically. So April's a write-off for Everton assets. But the reason I mention that now is because if you're looking at the table for Everton, they're pretty clear thanks to the good run of form recently. But these 2 fixtures are almost must win for breathing space reasons, because then they don't have to worry so much about the league table. And I think if they can get a good result in these 2, then they feel like they'll be well clear of relegation, and they don't need to worry as much. So I like Beto, and there's got some good numbers to back it up. So he's got 5 goals in the last 5 games. He's cheap at 5 million, which I think could swing if you're looking to spend more on Haaland. He's quite like peas on pens, because Ndiaye seems still to be injured. And since he came into the team in game week 23, he's only missed 16 minutes in 6 games. Looking at points per 90 of all forwards, he comes up 6th, but the strikers ahead of him all play, are Gakpo, Isak, Haaland, Wood and Mateta, but only 2 of those have a fixture in game week 29 in Wood and Haaland. So yeah, I think he's probably going under the radar quite a lot. He was came to my attention for sure in the double, getting 13 and 8 points, but he's continued, and he was really unlucky in that Brentford game. I don't know if you saw the highlights, but he had a lot of opportunities to score, did an XG of 0.6 in that game, expected goal of 0.6, and didn't get anything from it. So yeah, I think the next 2 are as good for him, and if you're looking for a cheap striker who is very likely on penalties, I don't think he's a bad shout.
Yeah, I don't mind it, to be honest, actually.
Didn't mention João Pedro either, to be honest.
Yeah, the fixture in obviously 29 doesn't help as much. Yeah, this week's game is okay, I guess, but the fixtures are not looking amazing. Yeah, he could be fine. He's certainly on penalties. But is he definitely nailed on again? Welbeck is definitely back. It's just, not sure. But yeah, I don't mind Beto. Like, people talking about, Harry's talking about Delap, and just the fixtures are a bit awkward as well. I think like the 29 fixture is not that great in my opinion. Not Forest at home. That doesn't sound like there's a lots of points there.
Yeah.
And then
Palace have
this
been
week
really good
Palace away,
defensively.
not great either. So I don't love Delap compared to Beto. I think Beto certainly better. Like Wolves away as well. Like I can't even Mikalenko seems like probably a good play there because like who's going to score for Wolves at the moment? Like,
don't know.
It doesn't seem to be in it. Like, but he hasn't even been starting. I guess he'll probably have to now. But it's just like this. Cunha's the one probably assisting Strand Larsen. So like, Cunha was basically carrying that team. It's like creatively and goal wise. So I just think there's ability for Mikalenko to come in to play this week. So I'm looking at my team a little bit and I'm thinking, actually as bad as it looks, I probably could just play on my bench and
roll again,
Mikalenko with decent fixture and roll again and possibly look at Haaland next week. So what's City's this fixture this week? Forest is not great for Haaland this week. So I
was just going to say, I don't mind. Like, I just had a look at Ipswich's latest results, and even though they haven't won in like such a long time, they have actually scored quite consistently, and they've had some tough fixtures. Last 5, they've had Liverpool, Tottenham, Southampton, Aston Villa, and Man United, and they've scored like at least 1 in all of them and 2 away against Man United. So I'm always really impressed whenever I see Delap. I feel like he looks like a good player.
Sure.
And there's worse fixtures out there, and I think he's on pens as well, isn't he? So it's not a bad shout at 5.6.
Yep.
All right, so I think probably just want a fixture worth talking about this game week because I think it has impetus for next game week as well and making some decisions. It's just a match preview on the Man United against Arsenal game, and both teams have a good fixture in 29, so it's worth looking at. So the reason I wanted to highlight, to target Man United's defence really is in the last 4 game weeks they have they're the third worst for expected goals conceded. And on to a point which I'm going to make a little bit later about Nwari. Interestingly, they've conceded 32% of all shots in the last 4 game weeks from the right-hand side, so could be profitable for him. I think in attack, Bruno is absolutely the only one still worth mentioning. I can't believe his ownership is still under 10% when he's quite high up the midfielders list still. I feel like we've spoken a lot about him, but he's like the 6th highest scoring mid this season now.
Yeah, just that awkward price point. Like no one can really get to 8 million-ish midfielders, really. Yeah.
I think it's because the strikers are doing, pretty well this season and outperforming him with the extra bonus. But he is, quietly having a good season from a midfielder point of view. But he's the only one to look at. And given the last 3 games, he scored 2 goals and 2 assists, back-to-back 10-pointers in the league. In game week 29, they've got that juicy fixture away against Leicester, and like I mentioned earlier in the season, he scored 17 points. And United have been very good against Leicester this season, but they've played them in a lot of competitions, and they've done well in all of them. 3 returns against Leicester early in the season, 3-0. So he might not be a buy this week because I think Arsenal at home is a difficult game, but perhaps next week, he for me is a definite possible transfer for either Salah if you don't have too much money invested in Salah, or someone like Palmer, who's got a tough fixture against Arsenal, and he could be like the make way or the route that helps you get Haaland up front, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you're
that does make sense actually. Yeah, I wasn't even considering Palmer, and I absolutely should have considering rather than Isak and Palmer and Trent as the money instead.
For some reason, I think Palmer's been dropping in price, and that's what when I was looking at it earlier, it made me think about it because Palmer's 11.1 now, and I've had him for a long time, and my sell price for him is 11, and I think he's due to drop in the next couple of days. So it seems like he's got a lot, there's a lot of money there, and he's not performing well. So you can get quite a lot of cash back off Palmer, and then which brings me on to a little bit of Arsenal, which is why I think Palmer is a potential sell next week. So her defense has improved. So 3 clean sheets in the last 5 games in the league, which is sort of the best sort of consistent run they've had in the league this season. Expected points over the last 4 game weeks, it's all defenders. So Gabriel leads the way for expected points, followed by Saliba, Raya. So it's still defence first for Arsenal. But saying that, timely reminder last night that they scored 7 goals in the UCL. prior to playing a very meek defence in Man United this season, and then Chelsea in 29, who similarly, in the last 6 away matches of all teams, have the 4th worst XGC. So even though Man United away, Chelsea at home doesn't look great on paper compared to the previous fixtures they've had when they've dropped points at Forest and West Ham, I actually think they're like quite open games. They'll be very comfortable playing in. I think Arsenal's attack at the moment is like, it's really difficult to pinpoint. So attacking wise, Moreno has had, this is in the league in the last 4 game weeks. So Moreno's had 4 big chances, Trossard's had 1. Now Mare hasn't had any. Key passes, Moreno leads the way too with 4. Trossard has 8, Moreno has 4, and Mare has 4 as well. So it's a bit of a mixed bag across that front three still. Even though Odegaard hauled last night, I don't think he's been consistent enough in the league, especially at that price point to invest. But I think Moreno at 6 or Amwari at 4.6 now, I think either of those are good options this week, for this week and next, if you want to go early on downgrading to upgrade somewhere else. So yeah, I think Arsenal and Man United both worth looking at this week, potentially for different reasons, mainly just budget to invest elsewhere for next week.
Marino or whatever it is, not sure. Just feels like there's probably better options to go for. But Wanyeri, like, I don't mind it as like maybe like a Rodgers downgrade.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously blanking in 29. And I think Villa's fixtures are quite awkward after that as well, as far as I remember. Yeah, so Brighton, Forest, Southampton's obviously good. Newcastle, City, Fulham. Yeah, Villa's fixtures towards the end, completely till the end of the season are like pretty like difficult, I would say.
And especially if they go far in, it looks like they're going to go through in UCL, and it looks like they're going to go through in the FA Cup, so they'll have even more midweeks. Are they
going to have any doubles? Villa? Obviously, they've had one.
They're going to have a double from missing 29.
Okay.
And they will also have I'm guessing they'll have another double, because I think the game in 34 against Man City will have to be rescheduled because... their game against 29 has already been played, isn't it? Against Liverpool. What I'm talking about. So they're going to have one double, Man City away, which isn't going to be great, but that might go into 33. So they might have Newcastle at home and Man City away in 33.
Yeah, he seems sellable at that point then. Yeah. Like those are not 2 great fixtures, obviously decent enough for bench boost possibly. And he did get a return in the Champions League last night with assists, and he does do fairly well in big games. So like I think he got points versus who was it this season? Yeah, he got 14 points versus Man City at one point. So is that right?
Who, Palmer? Yeah,
Rodgers did.
Rodgers,
he got 14 points versus City at home this season. So he does have sort of history in doing well against bigger teams. So maybe he's not the worst shout. But Wanyeri, seems like a good play just for these next few at least. So I don't mind that.
What do you think about? Going off on a bit of a tangent, but what about captaincy this weekend? Harry and Adam in the chat saying Salah's minutes might be definitely reduced, or might be reduced. Harry said he's 50-50 on Salah and Palmer captain. I just can't see Salah ever being benched. And then,
he might come off a bit early, but I think he'll start. If they're up like 3-0 against PSG this week, then he'll come off early on that, and he should be fine for the weekend. I think Southampton at home is too good to not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Attack with Salah. Yeah.
He's come on. He's been sub 5 times this season out of 28 games, like before 90 minutes. So, I kind of feel like more likely come off early tonight. The league is probably still the top priority for them, and even though he's not needed against Southampton, I can't imagine him being rested at all. Really,
he just doesn't seem to be rested, does he?
No. So I think
unless it's like cup games and stuff like where it doesn't even travel. Yeah,
and DJ saying in the chat as well, Jota this week. Like, I love the idea of like piling in on Liverpool this week because it's Southampton, but it's just such bullshit timing, because you're just buying a player for like especially a player like Jota, Diaz, or even Gakpo or Darwin. You're basically buying them for 70 minutes against Southampton and then a blank. Like
if they get 70 minutes, because it's still a lottery.
Yeah, they could get the 20. So I think, if you, I don't even know when the game is. Is it it's probably late in the weekend because they're playing tonight. Oh, it's Saturday at 3. So I don't know if there's some really reliable team news that Yotta's starting. I'd be like, yeah, I suppose that's not a bad move, but it's just like another transfer in and out.
Probably mean you have to free hit 29. I guess if you're doing that, you're probably
true.
Yeah,
because then you get to keep him for Everton. So it's maybe. And Harry said in the chat, Villa are definitely rotating, and I agree. They've got like they've improved the squad by adding Rashford and Asensio, and I think if they'd gone out of UCL or FA Cup, Asensio, I'd be like, I want him in my team for the rest of the season because every time he's playing, he's looking so good.
Yeah.
But I just can't find a time to own him in FA. He's only 6.1.
Yeah, I wonder if Rodgers will start this week. So I'm considering obviously rolling maybe. I wonder if Rodgers is even going to get minutes.
Yeah. Did he play full 90 last night? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
I know he set up the winning goal, or like the goal to be 2-1, didn't he? I think he did. Which was
something
like the 80th
like that.
minute. So yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. All right. Is there any more to talk about for tonight's show, or should we do our teams?
Yeah, we'll go with teams. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I said it's one game. Salah gets rest of 60 minutes one time in the season. It could be against Southampton. Yeah, I agree. Like it could happen. Could happen. I just think it's unlikely. I'd be so scared, captaining Palmer on a week that Salah's got Southampton at home. All right. Do you want to go first?
Villa at home.
Oh yeah.
Seems good. With the rotation from Villa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe vice captain. Well, you'd probably keep vice on Salah or Palmer, wouldn't you? I guess.
Yeah. Captain Kieran. Oh God, no. All right, here we go. I brought your team up because you went first before, so you can go first again as a special treat.
Yeah. So obviously with the striker issues, not looking great, but yeah. So Ruggan in goal, Fulham at home seems okay. Hopefully get something there. Yeah, obviously Trent was starting against Southampton. Gabriel, hopefully clean sheet. Like there's Hoyland, Garnacho, Zagsi, and they can't score. Yeah. Maybe Bruno does something, but seems like a pretty good chance of a clean sheet there. Robinson, at the moment starting, just because he should play better attacking potential than Howson or Mikolenko, but I'll probably end up starting Mikolenko. Just because of the striker situation. Salah captain, Cliver, and Mbeumo, Palmer, of course. Isak will be starting. And then I may just roll it. I think I'm obviously going to lose some.
Good, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm obviously going to lose some value in Mateta and Cunha probably. But there seems like three transfers next week to be able to get possibly Bruno and Haaland and stuff like that. That seems like possibly a better play than doing anything this week because the bench looks okay. So
I'd probably change your bench order. Maybe you haven't done it yet, but
I haven't set it up probably yet.
Marlenko in there. And the balls to roll with the money. I suppose why not?
It's just like the moves in. Obviously looking at Wood, like Wood doesn't have an amazing fixture this week. It's obviously City. And then, the other one would be Marmoush if I looked at it that way, or Beto, I guess. Probably just leave it, I think.
Yeah, nice. Okay. All right. Let's have a little look here. So, a little bit different. Pickford in goal. Cucurella. Oh, Cucurella. Gabriel.
Such a troll. He's trolled me this season.
He's such a dick, isn't he?
And and you love him now, I guess.
I like him. I don't really like him. As a player normally, but I loved him for last weekend. Gabriel, obviously, Trent. I think we've got the same midfield, haven't we? I think a lot of people have got this midfield at the moment. Kluivert, Salah, Palmer, and Mbeumo. Isak, Wood, and Cunha. I'm happy if Isak doesn't play. Milinkovic comes on. Double Everton defence maybe will come in this week, even though it didn't last week before last.
Certainly could.
Against Wolves without Cunha. So I'm actually. I had a look at it earlier to try and work out what I'm going to do because I think I've got 10 for game week 29 already with Dibbling, but I don't feel like I'm maxing it, if that makes sense. So I'm pretty sure that my plan is I'm going to do Cunha to Beto. I've only got one free transfer now because I did that Cucurella move, but happy about that because it was all right. So I'm going to do Cunha to Beto this week, which I'll be happy with because it keeps me having full line of penalty takers, which I quite like, and all from different teams, which is nice. And then next week, I'm pretty sure I'm going to sell Palmer to get Bruno, and I'm going to sell Isak to get Haaland. So that, and
Yeah, the funds.
That's a zero. That's a 0.0. So I need everything to stay as it is.
Okay.
But yeah, and then that means I can keep Salah. I can keep Trent for that if I don't wildcard in 30, and I can, if I'm really have big FOMO on Isak, I could always sell Haaland, but he's got Leicester in game week 30, so Haaland's got even a potential captaincy shout in that game as well. So yeah, I think I'm edging towards doing that, but yeah, I'm just not. Yeah, like we've talked about, like there's lots of strikers available at the minute, but I don't really feel like any of them are great replacements for
Cunha this week. I haven't really mentioned it. Yeah,
double Chelsea really. I don't think I can get there with. I think he's good this week, but maybe not so good against Arsenal.
Yeah,
but no, I think I'm quite set on the plan. But I don't know. I'm not that inspired by any of the strikers. I was looking at João Pedro as well, and I was like, I just can't bring myself to own him again. It's just
I feel that. Yeah,
he seems like a troll as well.
Cool. 100%.
Yeah, so I think that's where we are. Salah captain, Palmer vice. We'll see how we get on.
Yeah, not a huge talking point week in the end, I guess. It was just talking about those strikers and the idiots they are.
Yeah. And then
apart from Mateta, he didn't do anything wrong.
No, true. And then next week we're going to be into the blank, and then I feel like once we're on the other side of that, we might have some fixture announcements. We can start to talk about chip strategy and assistant manager. Like I've got no idea, having assistant manager at the moment, when to play it. If I had my triple captain, I'd be looking at game week 32 and Isak for that Man United and Palace back-to-back at home game. I think that looks, quite obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know about assistant manager anymore. What are you thinking with that? Or are you not really giving it much thought?
Honestly, I have no idea. To be honest, I was looking assistant manager around then, I guess, just because I think they've got a home game before that as well.
Yeah, they have Leicester.
Yeah, so that seems like a good run of like, will it be 4 games for Hal, or is it 5? Because they get.
Well, it'd be 4 because I think their double has been cancelled because they lost against Brighton, so they're not having that double now.
Of course, so it still seems quite good, I think. But at the same time, 33 is probably a better bench boost time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think there might be a 37 double. Is that right? So that might be the bench boost time. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll become clearer because even at the moment, I watched like a few videos yesterday. I think it was a Raptors video, and bless those guys because they spend a lot of time looking at all the potential combinations, but so much like relies on results and games that just haven't happened yet. And I just think there's surprises all the time in different cup competitions, and it just changes the landscape just like that. So yeah, we'll know more in a few weeks, I think.
Yeah, hindsight probably should have after the triple captaincy on Salah should have gone for the Emery, then Glasner, and just kept Glasner. That would have been a lot of points.
It would have just got it out of the way as well. I don't know why I just didn't. And we were like really into the Emery idea as well.
Well, I was less into it, but yeah, you were into it.
I was into it. Yeah, don't know why I didn't go for it in the end.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll think about that another day. All right. Thanks. Is there any more to add, or I think that's all right?
No, I think we're done. Yeah, short one.
Cool. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. We're back next week on the eve of the first blank game week of the season, and more to chat about then.
Yep.